Good morning, everybody. We are coming to you live today. I am trying on my desktop, my laptop, and I've got a microphone, so kind of doing a sound check. So let me know as you're coming in if the sound is good. It's kind of opposite. I lean right and it's left in the screen. It's a little weird here, but just want to say good morning. So chime on in, say hello as you are coming in. Just gonna give people a couple seconds to show up. Sip on some coffee here today. We'll do that right at the top of the chat today. What are you drinking today? Before we hop into our topic of answering the question. So we want to get into what question can you answer that will define your right now, but also give you a pathway to the future and in light of gig work, what that means. So here's a question that I want to ask with you today, and that is this. Who are you? Who are you? And more specifically than that, what do you uniquely bring to the table? So I was thinking about this week. There is a lot of entitlement that I see in the gig worker world of people believing that they're worth more than what they're getting paid. Essentially, that's what it comes down to, right? There's a lot of people in the gig worker world who believe that they are worth more than what they're currently making. They either think, well, I deserve more per hour or whatever, but they could never really define this question, which is what do you uniquely bring to the table? And why is your service experience going to be appreciated above and beyond any other random person dropping an item off? So I'm going to break this into kind of the two main groups that we're dealing with right now, um, to start with, and then maybe we'll bring it into the world of eBay and Amazon as well. Okay, so let's talk about restaurant delivery. I am fairly convinced that this is probably one of the hardest places to distinguish yourself from anyone else. Okay. And I think my experience kind of backs this up. So when you pick up food, let me know if it's kind of choppy. Um, okay, so let's just take the basic McDonald's order, right? You're running DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and you get the order from McDonald's. McDonald's, it's $5 for 1 mile, right? Whatever. What about that order would make someone want to give you more money than the $2 or $3 tip that they had already written into that app? What even potentially could be the situation that would entice someone to want to give you more? And I'm going to say honestly, there is not much. The person who ordered that wants their food, they want it quick. They've tipped what they believe is a fair amount relative to saving them time and saving them money, right? They're not going to pay more than it would cost them to go to the store and get it themselves unless there was a reason for them to do so, either for saving time or something along those lines. There's very little that you're going to do on a restaurant delivery that everything goes as fine because anyone can do that. You don't have to have a special set of skills to pick up a bag from McDonald's and drop it off as a delivery. There's just nothing unique that you are bringing to the table. Where you can start to bring something unique to the table in restaurant delivery world is when there is a problem. And I've stated many times before that a lot of my increased tips actually come when there's a problem with the order, not when everything goes well. So if you think about it this way, if everything goes well, the transaction occurs exactly as every party plans it to, right? You don't have to wait long for the order. You pick it up because it's ready when you get there. The customer gets it as quickly as they were promised. The app that sent the offer to you got the order completed as quickly and moves on to getting a new order assigned to you or to another driver. Everything goes quickly. Everybody gets what's promised in the timely manner that it is. When there's problems, that's where your customer service actually comes into play with a restaurant delivery. Now, I don't advise waiting around for a $5 order for 25 minutes. Okay. And honestly, if you're dealing with a low or no tipping customer, it's pretty rare to convert them to a significantly higher tipping customer. In fact, in all my deliveries, I can only think of one time where someone did not tip initially on the app and then ended up tipping on the app afterwards. Occasionally, you'll get people who don't tip on the app because they're cash tippers. You will get people who tip small in the app and will increase their tip. The vast majority of my major tip increases actually come from people who were already tipping big in the first place, right? It's just that for whatever reason they have the financial means to do so or whatever. Um, but when you think about it, when something goes wrong, that's when you can make a difference compared to other delivery drivers. And so I just want you to kind of think about that because most delivery drivers, when things go wrong, have little to no communication. They don't communicate with the customer as to why things went wrong. They don't they just don't have any mode of real customer service. And the amount of times that I've seen an order that was, you know, maybe it was already picked up or whatever, but it just keeps getting recycled through the Uber Eats system. And if you've done Uber Eats for a while, you'll see that, and it might be a $20 order for like a sandwich. But the fact is someone picked up that order an hour ago and no driver ever informs the customer, "Hey, your order was picked up. You're going to want to cancel it and get it rescheduled." Nobody seems to do that around me. And so often I'm doing that. They're not even collecting the $3 pay. So when things go wrong, that's when your customer service and you can bring out your unique personality in that system. Okay, here's the next issue, or not next issue, but the next scenario is when your grocery app. So this is Instacart, but also there's Shop and Delivers for Uber Eats and Grubhub as well. But when you're grocery shopping, communication and actually keeping your customer in the loop as to what is going on. And you can do that by using your unique personality as and to answer that question, like, who am I as a delivery person? What's going to distinguish me from every other delivery that has ever been made to this customer? And you can see that with Instacart, right? It'll say things like, I've got customers that I deliver to, it'll be like their 800th Instacart order. Okay. That means they've probably had 3 or 400 different people deliver to them. What makes you different or unique as an Instacart shopper versus the 3 or 400 other people that have ever shopped for that person before? You know, do you have a way, or do you have the ability to put a smile on someone's face? Do you have, this charm about you? Do you have a good understanding as to cooking and ingredients and recipes where you can really make superior substitutions or really good recommendations in the circumstance where an item ordered is out of stock? Or do you just, I don't know anything, I'm just going to refund, 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 refund. I don't really know. Y- You know, I, I would say my weakness with Instacart is I'm a slower shopper than a lot of you, but one of my strengths is I have a pretty good working knowledge of food. My wife cooks a lot and she's done a lot of substitutions and we've tried a lot of different foods. And so I feel I'm fairly proficient in a lot of areas in the grocery store of saying, hey, they're out of this, but you might want to consider that. And when possible, I'll even say something like, hey, they don't have the item you're looking for, but we just tried this past week and we really liked it. This is a good good bag of chips, right? This is something worth trying out. And so that's something that I can uniquely bring that a lot of people just look at things and they're like, okay, they don't have that bag of chips, refund, refund. Or they don't have that bag of chips, so I'm going to substitute in popcorn instead. I'm like, no, that's not what they're looking for. And understanding and knowing those things. So what do you uniquely bring to the table? And who are you and what makes you different? What distinguishes you from everyone else in your market? And honestly, I'm going to say it doesn't take a lot to distinguish you. One of the simplest things that I do in my Florida market, and I just got an increased tip from this yesterday from Instacart, is I just have a cooler in the car. It blows my mind how many Instacart shoppers in around me in Florida don't have a cooler, and how many times I talk to customers who are afraid to even order ice cream because every time they've done it before, it's come melted. It's just simple little steps like this that you can do. So what's something, maybe the cooler isn't as big of a deal in your market. You know, if you're delivering up in Alaska, maybe you don't need a cooler, you know, but maybe you need to be using hot bags for things. You know, I'll use hot bags. I don't just use hot bags for my restaurant deliveries. I use it for my grocery deliveries. So last night I had a delivery and it had 4 hot subs in it from Publix and some fried chicken. And so I put all of that stuff in my hot bag to at least get it to the customer as warm as I possibly can get it. And also their cold stuff in a cooler. And so you want to look for simple ways that make you uniquely you, that can distinguish you from everyone else around you. Because otherwise, you are just a person delivering food or delivering a product or whatever. You're not distinguished from anyone else around you. If you want to bring it into the area of e-commerce, right? What about you on Amazon is better? What about you on eBay? And I think it's much harder to distinguish yourself on Amazon than it is on eBay. But on eBay, what can you offer people that your competition can't offer? Can you offer 1-day shipping? You know, if you're not selling 50 items a day, if you're selling 2 or 3 items a day on eBay, you might be able to get away. I offer 1-day shipping. It's actually same day if they purchase by like 5 a.m. or something like that. You know, I just ship every day. It's not that big of a deal for me. I'm not selling that many items right now that it interferes. And so I just wake up in the morning, I ship everything that has sold overnight or throughout the day before, and I can do that. So I can have faster turnaround. You know, I saw a lot of baseball cards, and I think one of the big complaints of baseball card buyers on eBay is that it can just take a week or week and a half for people to get their orders. You know, I've got people who will get their orders next day if they're close enough, or sometimes 2 days away. So, what makes you uniquely you? How can you distinguish yourself from the people around you? And then as we go on from here, not just talking about within the food delivery world. Before I get into that, let me just do a little interjection in case you missed it before. Love to hear what you are drinking today. I've got coffee. I actually did a double shot, so there's like there's a lot of caffeine in here this morning, mixed with some half and half, and the rest of a bottle of Hershey syrup that we had left in the fridge. So comment in either live or watching later. And also, I'd love to hear from you. The quality of this stream. I know my camera on my computer is a little bit not as good as the phone, but there are more things that I think I can do with the camera setup eventually, and using third-party software on this. So I'm kind of just trying to pioneer this a little bit. So let me know if it's unbearable quality. We can go back to the phone for next week until I can upgrade some equipment. Also, just a friendly reminder, we do now have a Patreon that's open. I'm actually going to record a video right after this, just for Patreon. It will be available even to the free tier on Patreon. So it's not going to, you don't even have to pay to be on Patreon, but I would love to build our subscriber base on Patreon. So there's a link in the description that you can click over and you can just become a Patreon, whatever, a patron. And see that we're going to talk about dealing with anger issues that maybe you have bent up inside of you, and how do we process that in a healthy way and not take that out on other people, and really do that. So we dig a little bit deeper, and a little more heartfelt and challenging our thoughts and perspectives on a lot of areas of life. So you can click over to the Patreon. We'll have that video will probably be up, hopefully by 10:30 or 10:45 a.m. Eastern. And so there's special Patreon exclusive video that you will be able to find over there. All right. So we talked about who you are now, but now let's talk about who we want to become, because that's really what this channel is all about. Is it's not just about today; it's about the journey. And we're targeting people. This channel is open to anyone, but we're really targeting people here who are not happy with where their life is today. And so, what steps do you need to take to move from where you are to where you need to be, and but distinguishing yourself as the individual creation that you are? And if you were to just close your eyes for a moment and just imagine, what is your ideal future 5 years from now? Like 5 years from now, you could say, okay, if I could design what my life looks like 5 years from now, fast forward your family life, your kid life, your all the things, and you could say, okay, this would be my perfect day 5 years from now. How would you define that? What would be the characteristics or the qualities that you don't currently have that you need to be growing, developing? You know, what do you need to be learning? Okay, so our process here for moving ahead in life is first serve, right? We want to serve other people. That how can you distinguish yourself as being a premium servant? What premium service experience can you provide today? Okay, and then learn. What do you need to learn? So for your ideal future 5 years from now, what do you need to learn? Do you need is there physical tangible skills? So let's say you want to be doing something 5 years from now, you want to be an IT professional. Okay, so what are the physical skills that you need to learn? What are the mental codes that you need to memorize? What is the work that you need to put in? What do you need to do? And then how do you grow? How do you actually put those things, into practice? How do you work all of this so that way you're not just saying you want to do something but not putting the actual work in to accomplish it? Okay, and then adapt as you go. Then you're going to realize, okay, now I need to change this, or things are always changing, right? Like DoorDash is always changing. Maybe that's where you are today, and maybe you're like our market, right? We're switching from the Top Dasher program to the tiers program and all of that. And so we're doing our ride alongs this week, and I've got another ratings climb video probably coming out tomorrow morning. So we have all this thing going on. You have to adapt, because these apps aren't going to be the same in 5 years. Some of these apps probably won't even be relevant in 5 years in your market, and a new batch of apps will be. And maybe that's what you want to do. Maybe you just want to surf these apps and you just kind of like the nomadic lifestyle, and that's cool. But if you're saying, in 5 years from now, I would like to see myself as an IT professional or as a coach or as an entrepreneur, or whatever those things are, those are steps that's going to be changing. But also what needs to be changing is you, and not just you on the outside, but you on the inside. On the inside, like, do your people skills need to improve? Maybe you can use this time in delivering food to really improve your people skills. Okay. Maybe you can use this time in delivering food to work on your time management skills, to work on your focus, right? Maybe instead of, while you're waiting for an Instacart batch coming through, just scrolling through Facebook, and YouTube shorts, scrolling. Oh, I just missed a big order. Oh, I just missed another order because maybe you get focused on, hey, this is what I need to do for this point in time. I can't tell you what the right thing is to do, but I can tell you that if you're not morphing and you're not making the actual changes in your life to become the person that you say you want to become, you're never going to become that person. And so So yes, it starts with serving other people, and it does. We do want to learn and we want to grow, but we need to be making changes in our own life and eventually being able to change our world and our community around us. But it's not going to happen if you don't actually put those things into place. So really the question to answer, who are you? What makes you distinct? What makes you different today than the people around you who are, not necessarily direct competitors, but they're still competitors, right? You have this opportunity to provide something different. But then beyond that is, who are you going to be? Who are you today? Who are you going to be? What do you want to be known for? Not just you were loved by your family and friends, but if someone who was outside of your inner circle looked at you and said, I know that they are all about this. Fill in that blank. What is that this? I and what is the gap between who you are today and the this that you want to be? What does that gap look like? And what do you need to do to get to that point? So that's kind of my challenge for you today. Thank you for tuning in, whether live or whether you're watching this on replay. I would love to hear about that gap of who you are today, who are you becoming, and what are the changes that you need to make, and how can you start making those changes today?